The church. This word usually brings to mind an ordinary or grand temple, somewhere in the city center or on the outskirts. Sunday services, Easter and baptisms, and all of this is true, but few of us stop to think about what the church truly is. The church is not just a building. First and foremost, it is a gathering of believers, a community of people united by the same faith. It is a place not only for spiritual connection between a person and God, but also a center of public life. For example, in the Middle Ages, a city could not exist without a church. Everything has a beginning. The church, as a building, certainly didn't begin in my region. The path of the church in Ukraine as a cultural and architectural phenomenon began in Armenia and came to us through Byzantium. In the Armenian kingdom, the first Christian church in the world, Echmiadzin Cathedral, was built on the site of a former pagan temple during the reign of King Turdet III. Its architectural foundation is a cross in square dome style. The cathedral includes two apses and a central dome. The monastery complex also comprises the churches of Saint Gayana, Saint Ripsime and Shohakat. The Cathedral of Saint Ripsime is considered the finest example of domed church architecture in Armenia from the 5th and 6th centuries. It harmoniously combines function, structure and artistry. The church has a unified and beautiful prayer hall formed by 8 niches and a dome resting on the air arches. The roofs vary in shape and height, and the dome is topped with a sharp spire. The outer walls feature barred niches that create a play of light and shadow. The true innovation is sacred architecture of its time. The Byzantine and Armenian styles are very similar. In Ukraine, there is also the example of Byzantine church architecture, the Church of St. John the Forerunner in Kerch, though currently under temporary occupation. Construction began in the 7th century during the Byzantine rule, and the church reached its final form by the 18th century. It remains the only well-preserved Byzantine-style sacred monument in Ukraine. It is a typical Christian basilica with a cross in square plan and Byzantine ornamentation. The stone church was built atop the earlier basilica, partially reusing its structural elements. This cross-domed, three-nave, single-dome church was built from light stone, interspersed with rows of red brick, creating the decorative effect on the facades. However, Crimea was not the heart of Rus, that heart was Kiev. There, in 989 year, just 1 year after the Christianization of Kievan Rus, the magnificent Tis church was built. Why church is called Tis? Because Prince Vladimir the Great dedicated 1/10 of the state's wealth to its construction, the symbolic gesture of baptizing of the entire kingdom. It was built from stone, the innovation at the time for the Slavic land. It features the main hall and side aisles. Constructed using Byzantine masonry techniques, the church stood proudly until 1240 year, when it was destroyed by the Mongol army of Hanbati. Only memories and historical records remain, and they describe it as the masterpiece of advanced Byzantine architecture. In the 11th century, Yaroslav the Wise initiated the construction of the St. Sophia Cathedral, one of the most iconic spiritual landmarks of Kiev, although it was later destroyed by the Mongol army of Hanbati. It was restored in the 7th century by Petro Mohyla and Ivan Mazepa in the style of Ukrainian Baroque, as a symbol of the strong statehood. Although the original Byzantine style was lost, the reborn cathedral became the outstanding example of Baroque, richly decorated with arcatures and pilasters. Its golden domes shine brightly in the sun. The truly unique cathedral, with no direct equivalent anywhere in the world. It is a stunning fusion of Ukrainian and Byzantine architecture, united, indivisible, and enduring. The Church of St. Nicholas in the village of Sinyava, Kiev region, is one of the oldest surviving wooden churches on the right bank of Ukraine. This 5-domed wooden Cossack church is incredibly rare, as few wooden sanctuaries of its age and type have survived. Remarkably, it still functions as an active church on its original site. It is the only 5-domed cruciform wooden church. still standing on its original log cabin. St. George's Church in Sednev, Chernihiv region, is another wooden Orthodox church and the precious historical and architectural monument, the rare example of monumental wooden Baroque architecture. Dating back to the 18th century, it was built in traditional Ukrainian sacred architectural forms without a single nail. The wooden structure is tripartite, with the octagonal central tower and a single dome with the two towers. It was neglected for a long time and needed reconstruction, which was prevented by the war in Ukraine. Centuries later, on the site where, according to legend, the Apostle Andrew erected the cross, the St. Andrew Church was built. It represents Ukrainian Baroque with elements of classicism. It features the cross in square single-dome structure. At first glance, it is minimalistic, but the decoration plays a very piquant and important role in the aesthetics and beauty of St. Andrew Church. Golden details, dozens of pilasters, ornate cornices, and the striking color contrast of turquoise, white, and gold created the breathtaking architectural ensemble. Although it does not function as a regular parish church with daily services, it remains a powerful spiritual and cultural center. Thus, the development of Ukrainian church architecture clearly shows that multiculturalism has existed since ancient times and remains relevant today. It continues to inspire progress across all areas of life, both spiritual and cultural.